What if one of Manchester United's brightest young stars saw his career and reputation destroyed overnight by a shocking scandal? What if the hero of Old Trafford became the face of an alleged crime so disturbing that even his most die-hard fans were left reeling in horror? In January 2022, Mason Greenwood was a 20-year-old prodigy with the world at his feet until one morning when damning evidence surfaced online and turned his life upside down. The images and audio that appeared on social media that day were like something out of a nightmare, sparking outrage and an intense police investigation. This is the true crime story of Mason Greenwood, a tale of fame, violence, and the brutal fall from grace of a footballing wunderkind. And trust me, with every twist and turn, this saga only gets darker and more complex. Before we go any further, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single twist. Welcome to Dutch Crime Files. It began in the early hours of January 30th, 2022. A young woman, later revealed to be Greenwood's girlfriend, posted disturbing photos, videos, and an audio clip on Instagram, accusing the footballer of horrific abuse. The images showed bruises and bleeding. The audio captured a male voice, allegedly Greenwood's, threatening and forcing himself on her. Within hours, social media erupted. Fans who had once idolized him now faced harrowing allegations of domestic violence and sexual assault. By midday, the news had gone global. A Manchester United star was under criminal suspicion. Police moved fast. Greenwood was arrested that same day on suspicion of rape and assault. United suspended him immediately. For fans, it was surreal. A rising homegrown star was now in custody. TV crews gathered outside the Manchester Detention Centre, and by nightfall, Greenwood's name and mugshot dominated the headlines. Things quickly escalated. The next day, Nike suspended its deal with Greenwood, calling the allegations deeply disturbing. EA Sports removed him from FIFA 22. Then came another bombshell. On February 1st, police rearrested him for sexual assault and making threats to kill. He remained in custody while investigators dug deeper. On February 2nd, after 3 nights behind bars, Greenwood was released on bail. But the fallout had already begun. The evidence had sparked outrage far beyond football. Sponsors vanished. Fans recoiled, and the same question echoed everywhere. How could such a promising talent be at the center of something so dark? The fall was swift, the public backlash brutal, and Greenwood's nightmare was just beginning. After being released on bail, Mason Greenwood lived in a strange limbo. He was free from jail, but not from suspicion. Still suspended by Manchester United, he trained in isolation as the legal process moved slowly. In a powerful symbol of public sentiment, the club even allowed fans to exchange Greenwood shirts for others, his iconic number 11 becoming a badge of shame. Throughout spring and summer 2022, the investigation by Greater Manchester Police and the Crown Prosecution Service (CPS) continued behind closed doors. No updates were shared. Supporters wondered, would Greenwood ever return to football or be sentenced to prison? Then came a shock. On October 15, 2022, Greenwood was arrested again, this time for allegedly violating bail by contacting the complainant. That same day, the CPS officially charged him with 3 serious offenses: attempted rape, assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and engaging in controlling and coercive behavior. The charges stemmed from a pattern of alleged abuse between October and December 2021, including threats, physical violence, and psychological manipulation. Each carried the possibility of years behind bars. Just like that, Greenwood went from suspended footballer to criminal defendant. On October 17th, Greenwood appeared at Manchester Magistrates' Court. He looked pale and subdued in a grey sweatshirt, his voice barely audible as he confirmed his identity. Prosecutors detailed the accusations: social media surveillance, verbal abuse, and coercion that allegedly left the victim in a state of fear. It was a surreal scene. Reporters, supporters, and critics filled the gallery to witness the young star's fall. After a short hearing, Greenwood was held in custody. 2 nights later, on October 19th, he was granted bail again, this time under stricter conditions, including a no-contact order. The case advanced to Minshull Street Crown Court. By November 21st, 2022. Greenwood arrived flanked by family and lawyers. In a brief session, the court set a trial date for November 2023, more than a year away. For Greenwood, it meant another 12 months in exile. His football future frozen in uncertainty. Outside the courthouse, reporters fired off questions he didn't answer. Inside, the legal gears had begun to turn. The stage was set for a blockbuster trial, but just when it seemed that every disturbing detail would be laid bare, the case took an unexpected turn. As 2023 began, many braced for the trial of Regina versus Greenwood at Crown Court in November, but the case unraveled well before it ever reached a jury. On February 2, 2023, in a stunning turn, the Crown Prosecution Service dropped all charges against Greenwood. The CPS stated that a combination of the withdrawal of key witnesses and new material that came to light meant there was no longer a realistic prospect of conviction. In short, their case had collapsed. The accuser had withdrawn cooperation, and without her testimony or supporting evidence, prosecutors couldn't proceed. After just a year, the highly anticipated trial was canceled. Mason Greenwood would not face a criminal trial for attempted rape or abuse. Legally, he was a free man. The reaction was instant and intense. That cold February day, Greater Manchester Police confirmed the case was closed while emphasizing their continued commitment to investigating abuse. Outside the courthouse, stunned reporters scrambled to deliver the breaking news. Just months earlier, Greenwood had seemed destined for prison. Now, he would walk free. Greenwood broke his public silence with a brief statement through his representatives. "I am relieved that this matter is now over," he said, thanking family and loved ones for their support. He offered no apology, no detailed explanation, only relief. For supporters, it felt like vindication. But to critics, the lack of prosecution didn't equate to innocence. Dropped charges aren't acquittals. The haunting memory of those Instagram posts lingered. Was Greenwood falsely accused? Or did he escape justice through legal gaps? Manchester United treaded carefully. The club announced Greenwood would not yet return to training or playing. Instead, they launched their own internal investigation into the incident and allegations. Until the review concluded, his suspension remained in effect. Greenwood had evaded trial in a court of law, but now faced a different test, one conducted behind closed doors, under the bright light of public scrutiny. The legal battle was over, but the fight for Greenwood's reputation and his future in football was just beginning, and it would unfold in the court of public opinion. News of the dropped charges sent shockwaves through football. Could Greenwood really return to United like nothing had happened? Was it right to chant his name after hearing that disturbing audio? Public opinion split in two. On one side, supporters, including some teammates, argued Greenwood was never convicted and deserved a second chance. "There's no case to answer," one fan said. On the other, women's rights groups, many fans, and even sponsors insisted that the graphic evidence was enough to condemn him morally, even without a conviction. For them, Greenwood wearing a United shirt again was unthinkable. Throughout spring and summer 2023, Manchester United stayed silent. Rumors filled the vacuum. Some insiders claimed Greenwood's return was being planned. Others said it would be too risky. Media reports and columns reignited debate every few weeks. One Guardian piece warned the club faced a defining test of its values. Talk shows clashed over the balance between morality and presumed innocence. By August 2023, the pressure exploded. Reports leaked that CEO Richard Arnold was considering Greenwood's reintegration. According to The Athletic, a detailed rollout plan had even been prepared, including a video of Arnold justifying the decision. But, as the rumor spread, backlash erupted. Hashtags like #GreenwoodOut trended, and resistance gained momentum. The most powerful protest came from a group of female Manchester United supporters. Just before the season's first home game, they staged a demonstration at Old Trafford, holding banners reading, "Female fans demand no Greenwood return. End violence against women." They sent a loud message. One fan told reporters, "Footballers are role models. Should Greenwood earn a living? Sure, but not at Manchester United." Tensions flared outside the stadium, while protesters chanted, "No Greenwood, no more abuse." Others sang his name in defiance. Old Trafford had become a symbol of a broader social debate. How do we treat celebrities accused of serious crimes when the law doesn't convict them? Media coverage intensified. Major women's groups urged United to put survivors first. Some club sponsors expressed quiet concern. Even United's women's team players were reportedly consulted. It was an extraordinary moment. The future of a £100 million talent was now being shaped not just by club officials, but by a wave of ethical, fan-driven, and media pressure. Manchester United stood at a crossroads. Most public voices rejected Greenwood's return, but some inside the club still believed cutting him loose could send the wrong message. With the 2023-24 season underway and protests escalating, the club had to decide. And whatever choice they made, there would be consequences. After 6 months of intense deliberation, Manchester United's internal investigation was complete. Executives had reviewed evidence, spoken to witnesses, and assessed Greenwood's conduct. According to insiders, the process was hampered. Police didn't share all case files, and Greenwood's accuser declined to participate, though her family did to some extent. Still, by mid-August 2023, CEO Richard Arnold and senior officials had formed a view. As rumored, their initial stance leaned toward keeping Greenwood at the club. They reportedly found no clear proof that he committed the alleged crimes, or at least nothing they could act on with confidence. Legal advisors said the club lacked grounds to terminate his contract outright, since the charges were dropped. From a footballing view, Erik ten Hag was told Greenwood could strengthen the attack, but the decision required more than tactics. By early August, it looked like Greenwood might be quietly reinstated. But as the club prepared its August 4th announcement, complete with a planned video message from Arnold, protests surged. Each day brought louder objections from fans, journalists, MPs, and advocacy groups. One executive reportedly admitted, "We underestimated the strength of feeling out there." Even Arnold's own view began to shift. In a later letter, he said his stance had evolved. After consultations with sponsors, supporters, and United's women's team, the message was clear. Greenwood's return would not be accepted by many. The risk to United's image outweighed any footballing benefit. On August 21, 2023, United finally ended the speculation. In a carefully worded statement, the club confirmed that Mason Greenwood would be leaving by mutual agreement. They called it the most appropriate outcome after their internal review, and noted Greenwood had made mistakes, but would resume his career away from Old Trafford. They stopped short of condemning him or detailing specific findings, something critics noted. But the core message was unmistakable. Greenwood, once the club's most promising academy product, had played his final game for Manchester United. The reaction was mixed and fierce. Women's rights groups praised the move, calling it a relief, but also criticized the club for acting only after immense pressure. Greenwood's supporters, meanwhile, accused United of abandoning a player who was never convicted. Some saw it as an unjust exile. Greenwood released his own open letter. He admitted to mistakes in his relationship and accepted some responsibility, but insisted, "I did not do the things I was accused of." He called the outcome a collaborative process and said he would look to rebuild his career at a new club. It was a tragic, uneasy ending. Greenwood, who debuted at 17 and scored 35 goals for United, was leaving in disgrace, not because of performance, but because of scandal. The Manchester United chapter was closed, but one question remained. Could Mason Greenwood ever redeem himself in the public eye? With his United career in ruins, Mason Greenwood set out to rebuild his life elsewhere. Just 2 days after the club's announcement, speculation swirled. Where would the 21-year-old go? English clubs kept their distance. Rumors linked him to teams in Turkey, Italy, and more obscure leagues. Then, on the final day of the summer window, a lifeline appeared. Getafe CF, a small La Liga club near Madrid, agreed to take Greenwood on loan. It was a low-risk move, but came with massive baggage. Getafe introduced Greenwood quietly at first, but word spread fast. Within days, hundreds of fans turned up to greet him. At a special presentation, supporters chanted his name and posed for selfies. For many in Spain, far removed from the UK scandal, he was just a young talent looking for a second chance. But the controversy followed. During his first match, fans of the opposing team chanted, "Greenwood, die" in Spanish. Boos echoed every time he touched the ball. Greenwood pressed on, earning more minutes and showing flashes of brilliance. By season's end, he'd played 32 matches and scored 10 goals. Getafe's president expressed interest in keeping him, and even La Liga's president voiced support for his continued presence in Spain. Still, the stigma never left. In summer 2024, reports emerged that Olympique Marseille was eyeing Greenwood. The French club, with Champions League ambitions, seemed a possible new home. But as soon as the rumors surfaced, backlash erupted. Fans launched the #sign Greenwood not welcome, calling the transfer irreparable damage to the club's image. Even Marseille's mayor publicly opposed the move. Within days, the club's interest cooled. The episode was a clear signal. Wherever Greenwood goes, outrage may follow. By mid-2025, Greenwood remains in a kind of professional limbo. His contract with United is effectively over. A permanent transfer abroad seems likely, with whispers of Italian or lower league English clubs considering a move. Every transfer window is a test. Does his talent outweigh the controversy? Still only in his early 20s, Greenwood has time on his side, but the path forward is steep. The court of public opinion has not forgotten, and the echoes of that January 2022 scandal continue to shadow him. Can Mason Greenwood ever rebuild what he lost? His career, his reputation, the public's trust? Or will he always be remembered not for the goals he scored, but for the scandal that nearly destroyed him? From a rising star at Manchester United to an outcast fighting for a second chance, Mason Greenwood's story is a cautionary tale. Proof of how quickly fame can collapse. It's a story of talent eclipsed by scandal, of a fall from grace, and the storm of public outrage that followed. His case has forced football clubs and fans to confront uncomfortable questions about morality, justice, and second chances in the world's most popular sport. One thing is certain, this story isn't over. Greenwood is still in his 20s as he tries to rebuild his career away from the Premier League's spotlight. The world will be watching. Will he disappear into obscurity or rise again and reclaim a place on the pitch? Can the public ever forgive him? Only time will tell. If you want to stay informed about the most shocking cases and scandals in sports and crime, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll continue following the Mason Greenwood case and others like it. Hit that subscribe button to stay up to date, because in stories like this, the final whistle hasn't blown. Not yet. Stay tuned. And remember, sometimes the truth is darker than fiction. Thanks for watching Dutch Crime Files.